This podcast is not intended to usurp or undermine the authority of your spiritual leadership. Our aim is to support the spiritual growth of our listeners. I'm trying to steward what God gave us. Fruits, vegetables, it was nuts and seeds, and just things, and beans. They did find that eating meats and dairy products, although that we permit them, they're not the best options when it comes to longevity or health. The more plant-based you can be, the better. And when I say the better, it doesn't mean that you can't eat, a steak or something like that. It just means most of your plate really does need to be whatever God created, which was those types of things. Your body will actually respond very well to unless you have some disorder of your gut where you don't process certain vegetables or fruits or things, or allergies. Of course, you don't want to be eating those. But the closer to nature that you can be, the better when it comes to eating food in general. So a lot of times, it's not a fad diet. How many fad diets? Name some fad diets that we have out there.
Keto.
Juice cleanse.
Keto, juice cleanses. What else? Come on. You can name a few, I'm sure.
Mediterranean.
Now that's more of actually a healthy diet, because it deals with fruits, vegetables, good olives, good fats. Actually, Mediterranean diet is recommended.
And then there's the paleo.
Paleo, which is mostly meat, which is not recommended.
Mm-hmm. And right now the big thing is the carnivore.
Diet. Which I do not recommend.
Yeah.
I've seen big things about only 2,000 calories a day.
Okay. Well, they also found that when your body doesn't get enough calories, it actually produces a hormone called adrenaline, and your body starts freaking out, like, where are the calories? So you want to make sure you do get enough calories, and everybody's different. And honestly, we don't even know how to measure calories. We know how to measure calories, but on a day-to-day basis, do you want to be counting calories? No, it's not sustainable. No. So we want to do things that are sustainable. So, there's fad diets. There was the Atkins diet. All of that's like the high fat, high, meat type of thing. And actually doing those types of things loads your body full of nitrogen, which is the outcome of these things, and puts a load on your kidneys. It puts a load on just your organs in general, because we were not created to eat that much meat, that much protein, in a sitting. And many times people will lose weight quickly because, so here's an example. So things from the ground, they're made of carbon, right? So carbohydrate. So it's hydration of the carbons. So things from the ground. So when you restrict your body from carbohydrates, you will lose water. And so a lot of the time when they're doing those fad diets where it's high protein, high fat, no carbohydrates, you're going to lose a large amount of fluid in the first few weeks. And then you're like, wow, I lost 30 pounds. Well, it's basically you lost your fluid weight that was in your body. And then your body doesn't react well to that. And then things start to happen and your body adjusts and changes, and you actually will store fat easier when you start eating normally. So there's we could do a whole podcast on fad diets, but I would say eating wise, we know that our purpose is to worship God with what we're eating, and then to types of food to eat, would be those basic, just be basic. We don't have to be extravagant with all of these, foods and processed things.
Right.
So, what three flavors do you think the American diet really likes to make sure we have in our foods? Three kind of like, just name some foods and I'll tell you name some foods that the American diet's like when you go out to eat or something like that. What's in there?
Are we talking like pastas?
Pastas?
Are we talking...
Well, like creamy stuff?
Yeah.
So we like creamy, we like crunchy, we like fried. Mm-hmm. So that's fat. Fat. What else? What really makes the tongue have a party?
I'd say definitely a lot of salt and oil. Like
Salt.
everything's deep fried. these
Everything's deep
days.
fried.
Yes.
It's fat and salt, and then what's the other on the other spectrum?
Sugar.
Sugar. Sweet.
Yes.
The American food diet is high sweet, high fat, high salt. And we had done all these studies on salt, causes increased bone loss, and it causes high blood pressure. Then we know sweet, it can cause insulin, your insulin to go up and down, cause mood changes. Those that have ADHD or those that have any they're just going all the time, is they crave sugar. The brain is just like ping, 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 ping. And the only thing that crosses that blood-brain barrier is glucose. And so they're just like sugar, 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 sugar. And so that's that dopamine, because sugar gives us that dopamine. And man, Americans love dopamine. We get dopamine from social media. We get dopamine from tasks. We get dopamine from just, feel-good food. And so I would say we're a society that's kind of addicted to dopamine. What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say.
Definitely agree.
So sugar, and then, the fat. You said everything's deep fried. Well, why do you think it's deep fried?
Working in food, it's definitely a lot easier.
Easier.
You can
We were
mass
talking about
produce.
convenience and fast, weren't we?
Yes.
Yes. Fast, quick, quick.
You can
Everything's-
definitely produce a lot more of it in a
Yes.
quicker time than rather baking it in the oven
Right.
and stuff like that.
more,
Right.
quicker time, and shelf stable. Right. So that being said, this kind of goes into our next thing is the food industry in general. Do you think the food industry has your health in mind?
No.
No.
So why do we eat what they give us?
That's a good question.
If we know that they don't have our health in mind,
Yeah.
and they're doing it because it's cheap, fast, quick, make money, I can do in bulk, why do we eat it?
I'd say it's definitely price point. It's very much cheaper to eat what they're producing rather than to make it myself. And even
Is it though?
Yeah.
No. But it's convenient.
That's it, convenience, the convenience. So a big obstacle to actually eating healthy isn't necessarily the price, because it is a little cheaper to eat healthy because you can make things in bulk. You can, you actually eat less when your body gets more nutrients. You actually eat less. You're not as hungry, because they did a study with teenage boys, and they did it with instant oatmeal. And the boys ate instant oatmeal for breakfast. An hour later, their blood sugar plummeted and they were hungry again. So they had instant oatmeal for lunch. Well, they ate 1,400 calories in the afternoon, just in the afternoon, because they were so hungry. It made their insulin levels adjust. So many of these foods, they might be quick and easy and convenient, but they're actually making you less nourished. There's no nutrients in them. They're processed. So you're eating things that are filling the belly but not actually nourishing you, right? And then when you become more malnourished, your body craves more sugar type foods, things to fill you up. That dopamine, your brain hormones start to change, your neurotransmitters, okay? So you start craving things. And that's where food addiction can actually come from, being just malnourished. So we're eating food from a food industry that doesn't really have our best interest in mind. So what do you think we could do? What were a couple small steps? I just want to get you guys thinking about, why we do what we do. Because if we're so busy and it's fast-paced all the time, why do we eat? Can we trust the food industry?
Not at all.
No.
No. So if we knew, if the food industry has known for, this was 30 years ago, red dye was not the best for your brain. It stores in the brain. It's not good for those with hyperactivity. It's not good for your kidneys. And they still put it in there. Why do they put it in there?
To make it look more appealing.
Right, look more appealing. So a lot of times our breads that are on so when I went to Purdue, we had something like a food science class. So food science is not about having your best interest in mind when it comes to health. It was, how can we make you want to eat it? So your salad dressing, It has xanthan gum and certain gums in it to thicken it, to make it a mouthfeel on your tongue, to make it you want to eat it. Ice cream does the same thing. They'll put air in it, or they'll do certain things to make it more creamy. Bread. So bread, they'll put dough conditioners in there. If you read the ingredients on bread, you're like, oh, there's 30 ingredients. What does your body do with all of that? Some people, like, they just think their body just gets rid of it. What do you think your body does with it? With all those ingredients that are in there that aren't even like, they're chemicals. What do you think your body does with them?
I'm assuming it stores it
Some of it's stored. Where do you think it's stored?
in our bloodstreams,
Bloodstream,
in our
liver, or organs.
okay.
Yep. So just because you eat it doesn't mean it goes out the other end. It stays in your body. Some people think they're like, if you eat these things, you think they just disappear, and they don't. They stay.
36 hours, it's out. Just like
Now, I will say, and this just, this stream of consciousness just starting, just talking and thinking. So we eat these foods that they're not the best for us. Our gut health isn't the greatest, and our gut is where our health is. So if your gut isn't healthy, your body's not healthy.
right.
You can notice it in your skin. Have you ever smelled somebody's skin? He's kind of like, ugh, doesn't smell the best. Maybe I just have a sensitive nose. I can smell when somebody is not a healthy eater. I can smell it through their skin.
But you
Really?
can.
It's kind of a rancid
I
smell.
bet you can smell it when you enter the room.
Yes, you've smelled that before, haven't you? You probably have when you
Just depends. Now we're all like,
But you can
not
smell
me.
if you're around in a room with an alcoholic, you can smell it through their
that is
skin.
true.
Yes.
So our bodies, you ingest things, but it's shown through your eyes. Your eyes, how clear they are. So when I do a nutrition assessment, I just don't look at your weight and whatever. Do I look at your eyes? How clear are they? Do you have liver problems? Do you have, jaundice where it's like, kind of discolored? Have you ever seen somebody's eyes? They're not healthy and they're just kind of glazed over. You can skin rashes, or if there's a lot of acne. You think acne might be hormonal, but many times it's the food that you eat. Eczema is usually from a food allergy or an allergen. If I have dairy, I will have eczema. Psoriasis, it's hormonal, but it can also be just food related. So our food doesn't just go in, process, and then go out of our bodies. Our bodies absorb it through, and we store it in our skin, we store it in organs, we store it in those types of things. So with that being said, I'm trying to let you know is that we are what we eat. And so if we can't really trust the food industry, and we're busy and everything's convenient, but we're eating it anyway, and we're just kind of mindless and distracted, and then we wonder why everyone's getting cancer, heart disease, strokes in their 40s, people that pass away early. It's not living a joyous, thriving life, is it? It's dying young. You literally stopped your life short by what we're eating because we didn't pay attention. And that's where even just spiritually, if you don't pay attention to what's coming into your life, you will go down a path of sin. And if you don't pay attention to what you're eating, you will go down a path of unhealth. Yeah. And sometimes they're like, oh, it's cheaper to eat this, and this. However, in the long run, we're so good with just being like, live for today. But in the long run, you're going to see more healthcare costs in yourself, and then putting a more burden on your family. You won't be able to play with your grandchildren or your children if you have, these health issues. So if we can start thinking long distance, like where do I want to be in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you'll definitely change what you're doing, eating, what choices you make, things of that nature. When you have a long-term, goal. Has anybody ever really wanted to lose really wanted to eat healthy because they wanted to lose weight? How long does that usually last if the goal is to lose weight?
Not very long.
Not very long. Why do you think it's not very long as a goal?
Because it's got to be a lifestyle change.
lifestyle change. It has to have a purpose.
Yes.
So whenever you want to make something, whenever something's like short term and you're like, I'm just going to plow through, I'm going to be eating this, I'm going to do this, and, discipline, you can last maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3, 4 if you're like really disciplined. But a lot of times you have to have a long-term goals and a bigger purpose and a bigger reason than just weight loss. Weight loss is a goal. It could happen. But what if we started changing the perspective from weight loss to just healthy eating?
Thanks for tuning in to the HV Church podcast. We hope this episode encouraged and inspired you in your walk with God. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to share this podcast with a friend or family member who might need to hear it. If you want to learn more about HV Church or connect with us, visit hvchurch.com or follow us on our social media pages. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.